What is up, everybody? It's Nate again with Sneakers and Streets, and today we've got a really cool sneaker to review. It's a collaboration between Vans and the North Face. Before we get started, everybody, I really just want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm still growing my channel after a 6-year hiatus, so every little bit counts. Now, thanks for doing that, and I want to start talking about the Vans North Face collab. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the history of North Face and Vans. The company was started by the two Van Doren brothers. They opened up for business in 1966 in Southern California. At the time, Vans were a very unique company in that they would actually create the sneakers in-house and sell it to you in the same facility. Since then, Vans have become one of the most popular shoes in the world. Of course, their slip-ons and the Old Skools are some of the most prolific sneakers ever. Now, when I was doing my research on the North Face, there were a couple of interesting parallels. The North Face was also started in 1966, and they started out in Northern California. Their goal was to create a powerful hiking and mountaineering brand. The coldest and most dangerous part of a mountain is the North Face, and that's where they got their inspiration from. Just like Vans, they have risen to prominence in the mountaineering and hiking community. Not only that, but they also have quite the presence in streetwear and techwear nowadays. These two forces together have come up with a pretty cool pair of sneakers. They were released on November 3rd of 2017, and there were 4 different sneakers to pick from. They made a Vans Old Skool in white or yellow, and also an Old Skool High in black or red. These retailed for $125 USD, which is more than twice as much as some normal Old Skool Vans. Now, these don't look too much different from your average Old Skools, so a reasonable person would have to ask what makes it worth more than twice the price. Well, aside from the branding on the shoe, there's a lot of small technical features that a lot of people will find valuable. So let's get into it. Let's review every little piece of the Vans North Face Old Skool collab. The upper of the shoe is a mix of different materials. Now, the mid panel of the shoe is a water resistant suede. On the outside, it does have sort of a buttery feeling to it, and the color does change slightly depending on if you rub it to the left or if you rub it to the right. The toe box has a sort of plastic canvas material. I've probably only worn these 5 to 10 times so far, and I do have some creasing on the toe box. There is a pretty hard to see pattern on the toe box and the part where the laces go through. When you move to the stripe, it has that same material, but in black and using a slightly different pattern. Here you see more of a dotted pattern rather than the crosshatch pattern on the yellow portions. And on the back, you get a giant North Face logo stamped for everybody to see. I also really enjoy this black rubber portion along the sides of the upper. The intention behind this black material is to distance the upper from the ground. If you're in areas where you need the extra water resistance, that's going to help you out. Along the top, you do get thick rope laces and a metal aglet. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but it looks to me like the tongue is not water resistant at all. Along the top of the tongue, you do get quite a strong pull tab. And on the inside, you can see the North Face branding. The white midsole seems exactly like what you're used to on a pair of Old Skool Vans. However, you get a lot more material on the gum outsole. You can actually see that the outsole protrudes past the midsole, so you get a lot more durability there. And I assume a lot more traction because you're going to be able to grip better onto the road. Now, on the inside of the shoe, you do get a couple of other technical features. Vans are often known for being a bit uncomfortable, at least until you break them in. A lot of people report that when they first get Old Skools, the back of the shoe kind of rubs into their foot. The same thing has happened to me and a couple other of my friends. This pair, though, kind of remedies that. You get a soft plush liner on the inside, and there's extra padding. It's also not just a cheap canvas you're rubbing against your foot. It feels almost like a wool or soft cotton material. Also, if you plan to use these in colder weather, they do have a heat retaining material on the inside. That material lines the entire upper, and I have noticed it. It's really good at keeping your feet warm. Now, that can be a downside too, because if your feet get sweaty, there's not much I can say to help you out. And as for the sizing on these, I wouldn't say they're true to size. I would recommend going a half size down. It seems like the body is that of a normal Old Skool, but considering all the padding they put on the inside, there's a little less room for your foot, and that's why it feels a little bit tighter. Also, it's become sort of a thing in my reviews to talk about how you would style the shoes that I'm reviewing. Honestly, these kind of go with anything. You can use them in techwear, you can use them in casual fit. They're just yellow Old Skools. Now, I definitely think you can merge them with some Enfin Lev outfits, with some Nike ACG outfits, or with some TNF outfits. The problem with a lot of techwear shoes is that you can't wear them with everything. And these sort of fill both of those niches. Now these are pretty loud shoes. A lot of people might comment that you're wearing bright yellow sneakers. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something to consider. And I've got to let you know if there were any manufacturing errors on my pair of Vans. Now I'm going to preface this by saying that Vans don't really have the highest quality control. That being said, these were kind of perfect. There was no glue out of place, no bad stitching. I couldn't find anything wrong with them. Maybe that's where the steeper Vans price tag comes from. Now it's time for the first of its kind on my channel. I'm gonna do a waterproofing test on the North Face Vans. I'll be wrapping my feet in paper towels, so that way if any water gets through, you'll know exactly where and how much. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun reviewing these and I have a lot of fun wearing them too. If you have any comments on these, please let me know what you think. I read every single one I get. And I want to say one more time, I appreciate each and every person who likes, who comments, and who subscribes. Every one of you, every time you do that, you help me out a lot. This has been Nate with Sneakers and Streets, and we'll see you again next week.